Hi guys, it's I forgot who I was. I don't know what's wrong. Anyway, it's Michelle from Deception Bytes, and it is September 16th, and it's 3:53 p.m. I hope you all are doing well this Sunday. What we're going to be doing today is carrying on with the Q posts, and from my video yesterday that I did on Q-related news, I did promise you that I would come back today and do the post from yesterday. I got home really late and was not able to get a video out yesterday when these came out, but I am doing so now. And Q has been posting today. I have already looked at those posts, and I will be bringing those to you later as well. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing really, really well. Some of you that follow this channel regularly know that I have been having some health challenges, and I feel the last few days my health is returning to me, and it's a wonderful feeling. It makes you thankful for the little things in life, and it makes you grateful for life itself. So again, I wish you all health, and I hope you are doing as well as I am today. Anyway, let's get started. But first, I just wanted to give a shout out to my arms for always being by my side. I just had to throw that in there. Anyway, let's get started. Yes, I am a little bit strange. If this is the first time listening, I will bring you the Q post, but I will probably not do so in a manner that you are accustomed to. So, just a warning. All right, let's get to the first one, September 15th, and it is a link to a Twitter account from a young lady, and let's go take a look at it. Now, what I wish is that I could play this for you with the let me just stop this for a second. What I wish is that I could play this for you with the music. However, the music is copyrighted, and so I can't play it with the sound. I am going to play it though, because you will get the drift even without the sound, because the sound is just a music, a song in the background. But if you would like to see this with the sound, and I would highly recommend it, I would go to Twitter, and the Facebook page or the Twitter page is Alice at Real Trumperland. Alice at Real Trumperland, and she is on Twitter. This is the first I've seen, but I have gone ahead and followed her because she looks like she is a Trump supporter all indications would point that way. Anyway, let's take a listen to that. Well, sorry. See, I'm telling you to take a listen, and then I'm not going to play any music. That's just cruel. But let's look at this. And it says, return tweet if you think it's time to lock them all up. And this is it's well done, I think, and it's so much better with the music though. So yeah. I don't know, I just think it's adorable. And there's Trump hot on the heels. There's Mueller. Uh-oh. Yep. Lock him up too. Yep. Love it. Yeah. I love that expression that she did, and they keep using it in all the videos, and it's just hysterical, that one where she has her mouth wide open. And here comes the big dog himself, Hussein. Yes, lock him up. That's what we all want. That's what we all need. So if you are on Twitter, then go find Alice and return tweet this, because I think everyone needs to see it and hear it. Wish I could let you hear it, but you know how they are. So let's go on. Excuse me. And here we have a link to a CNN article, and Q says a declass coming. And of course, he's talking about the declassification of the 20 pages of FISA, the FISA memo, the document that they use to get a FISA warrant, and it is the Carter Page FISA warrant that needs to be declassified. And so he says declass coming, more incriminating text releases coming, dark to light. Carpet bombs lead up to the mother of all bombs. Q. So these are little carpet bombs, but it's leading up to the mother of all bombs. And what is the mother of all bombs? It is the declassification of the FISA memo. Not the FISA memo, but the actual documents that they use to get the warrant. So let's go to this link. Q obviously wants us to see this, so that's what we're going to do. Presidential alert. FEMA to test emergency alert system next week. Now, let's see how they're spinning this. And I may play this.
We're all used to Amber Alerts on our phones these days. We're also used to those severe weather alerts. We've all had that experience of being in a room where everyone's phone lights up at the same time with an alert about the weather. The difference here is that this is FEMA applying that same technology on a nationwide level, testing the ability to communicate to the entire country at the same time. And that's why it's called this presidential alert. And I think because we're in this upside down period of politics with a lot of people fearful of President Trump, concerned he might abuse his power, there's been a lot of speculation in recent days that he would try to use this new technology in ways that are inappropriate. However, there's no indication of that. In fact, there's no indication that he even really knows about this test that's coming up next Thursday.
But
it is an interesting moment in time to see the government testing out this new technology. I think we can show you what the text will look like on Thursday that'll be pushed to everyone's phone. It will be labeled Presidential Alert, which is partly why this is so curious. It'll say, hey, this is a test of the National Wireless Emergency Alert System. No action is needed. So that's the message that'll be pushed out on Thursday. It's the result of a law that was passed by Congress back in the Obama years in 2016 in order to bring the U.S. government up to speed so that, it's not just an alert on TV, not just an alert on the radio. Now there'll be alerts on your phones in the event of a national emergency, a major terrorist attack, or a major national disaster.
And of course, I think that's a good thing. Now, it's funny when he says there's no indication that Trump even knows that this is happening. Give me a break. Like, seriously, this is the most hands-on president we have ever had. He is aware. I don't know. I think that this man must sleep very little. And there are people like that. They just don't sleep a lot. They sleep like 4 or 5 hours a night, and that's it. I don't know if Trump is one of those guys, but let me tell you, I don't know how he gets done everything that he gets done, because he has done more in the short time in office than maybe not all our presidents combined, but the last few presidents combined, that is for sure. So I think this is a good thing, because literally if you have a terrorist alert or something, it's a way that the president can communicate with every single person in the nation at the same time. And it makes sense that the left would be concerned about Trump abusing it. I really don't have any issues with that. I don't think that it'll be abused at all. I think that it may be a way to get around the mainstream media when something needs to be communicated, and I think it's brilliant. So anyway, we'll just see what happens with that. I think it is connected in because he is letting us know about this, and then he's saying D-class coming. So he's linking these things, these two things, this emergency alert system, the presidential alert system, and the declassification of the FISA document, and more incriminating text releases, because he asks it as a question, but we know that when he asks a question, it's not really a question. So he's telling us that there are more incriminating text releases coming. And these are just little carpet bombs leading up to the big one. And he also says September long dash short dash 17 long dash short dash week of. So it will be the week of September 17th, which of course it is because it's coming this Friday. This Thursday rather. Excuse me. And I don't know what that means. Long dash short dash. Almost is that, I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. Q doesn't do anything by error. So I don't know what in SOS not SOS, Morse code. What is the long dash short dash? What would that mean? I don't know. I don't know Morse code. In fact, I don't even know the SOS Morse code, which I think probably everyone does need to. Anyway. That will be something to come back to. I need to look into that because I just noticed that there are a break in these dashes. Long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash. So I'd like to look into that further because Q is not a person that just does things willy-nilly. Also, what it just came into my mind, and I do want to apologize to you because I have been informed by several people in the comments, and I do thank you for that because I want the proper information going out, and if I'm wrong about something, I want to be corrected. So many people brought it to my attention that the dress that Melania had on that had the Q had been photoshopped. Now, I have not looked into that myself yet, but I am going to. I have no reason to disbelieve those people that put that on in my comments, because it was several of you, and I have no reason to disbelieve that whatsoever. But I do want to put the two side by side so that I can, see it for myself. And I do apologize for putting that forth as that was her dress when in fact it was photoshopped. I was not aware of that, and I do want to apologize. Thank you for those of you who corrected me. I appreciate it. Now let's go on. And this is cute. It may get a little loud because they are cutting the grass out there. My window is shut, but hopefully it won't get too loud. Now I love this. I see Q people. Most of you will remember that show, that movie. It was The Sixth Sense, where the little guy says, I see dead people. Well, that's what that reminds me of. I see Q people. And it's funny because, well, I won't get into that. I see dead people. I do see dead people. Now I know you're thinking, what is wrong with you? No, I really do. I do see dead people. Every time I go to the funeral home, I see dead people. Anyway, this is I see Q people, not I see dead people. And there it is a picture of all sorts of people holding up Q signs, having Q t-shirts, Q. And then Q adds, they want you divided. Divided by race, divided by religion, divided by culture, divided by class, divided by political affiliation. Divided, you are weak. Together, you are strong. We, the people. Where we go one, we go all. Q. So that's just, to me, that's one of the posts that we see quite often to just encourage us. And that's what that post is about. It's about encouraging us to stay the race, stay the course, because they are trying to divide us, and they are trying to use people that appear as if they support Q, and this is what I see happening. There are people out there that they are tweeting, or they're on Facebook, or they're on YouTube, and they're putting stuff out there that's positive towards Q, but then every once in a while they slip in something. Now, I don't know. There is a movement afoot to divide, absolutely. And while I support Q, I am still cautious. And I think that if you throw away all cautiousness, you're a fool. Really. Because you're just asking to be deceived. When the moment that I see something that, sets off alarm bells, I'm going to let you know, because that's the way I am. I'm not going to pretend to support something if I don't. Now, I've seen a few things I'm concerned about, okay? I'm just putting it out there. But for the most part, I don't see how this can be negative. Bringing people to justice, cleaning things up, getting rid of the traffickers. How is that negative? It's not. But we will see. I don't know what the end game is. And but be cautious. Be cautious out there, because there are people that are trying to divide and put out false information. So check everything out. Check out what I say, please. If I say something and it doesn't sound right to you, then please, by all means, check it out and correct me, because I read the comments, and there are a lot of times where people will correct me and say, no, that's not right. You got that wrong. And I appreciate that. I really do. I will never, erase a comment of somebody correcting me. So there you go. Unless it's just completely off the wall and the person's mentally ill. I do get some of that where it's evident that somebody is either drunk or has taken some drugs before they've posted, and but that's rare. All right, now here is the next one, and it is Q is making reference to a tweet rather, and again, he's saying, together we are strong, together we win, Q. Now, it seems like September 15th was a day where he's been encouraging us. So let's go. This is the actual tweet that he took us out to, and it's by Running the Race. Now, this looks like you could just, click on it and it would play when you go out to the tweet, but it doesn't for some reason. So I don't know what this is, other than it's a song, and it says, Q, here's one for you. It says, Where We Go One, We Go All song by the J.T. Wild, and Casey Johnson. So if I were you, now this is obviously going to be copyrighted, so I couldn't play it for you anyway, but that's what I would Google if you want to find this song, or go to, it's Running the Race at To Run the Race. That is their Twitter. Okay? Running the Race at To Run the Race. And it says, song dedicated to Q and Anons from the board, Where We Go One, We Go All. And it says at Real Donald Trump, YouTube. So perhaps there you can hear it. Maybe if you click on this link, this YouTube link, you can hear the song. I'm sorry I can't play it, but again, I would get a copyright strike, and that's not pleasant for me because, well, they're doing anything that they can to silence conservative voices. So I do try to be as cautious as I can while still bringing you what you need to know and so forth. I'm not going to dumb down what I'm saying because of them, censoring conservatives. Now, I will, at some point, if I get kicked from YouTube, I will switch to a different platform, absolutely. And I need to be setting that up I have set up a second channel. Now, I haven't got anything on it yet, but the channel is called Living Well, and I will probably be putting some videos on there about natural health and how to stay healthy if the caca hits the mechanical blades, the rotating mechanical blades, then it's ways to stay healthy for very, very little money using a lot of homeopathic things that actually work. So I have that channel that I'm going to be setting up, and I am going to be posting on there as well, but there's nothing there yet. Again, it's called Living Well. So that will be one channel that if this channel gets taken down, I could post videos temporarily, and we'll let you know when I've got something set up on another platform as well, because again, it only makes sense to plan for these things, especially with everything that's happening. So, and here is, now this is the one we just looked at, Together we are strong, together we win. And here is the next one from September 15th. And it is, well, we're going to go look at it, and it says panic in DC. Cute. So let's go take a look at this. In the Russia probe, it's excuse, accuse. That's a very interesting title to the article, if you ask me. Unseal the FISA redactions. We should be alarmed by what's already disclosed, and I would agree. Will this be the week? I hope so. With bated breath, we wait to find out whether we've reached the moment after the Labor Day end of summer, just as the critical midterm races heat up, when President Trump will follow through on his threat to declassify and publicize key FISA-gate documents, in particular, the redacted portions of the Carter Page surveillance warrant applications. I hope the president follows through, at least to the extent he can do so without putting intelligence method and sources at risk. Accountability is essential here. The FBI and the Obama Justice Department launched an investigation of the Democrats' political adversaries, and they used Clinton campaign-generated, foreign-provided innuendo to do it. They strained to make a case on Donald Trump, even as they were burying a daunting criminal case on Mrs. Clinton. As I have previously explained, moreover, the president was misled about his status. Not only was he a suspect in the investigation, he was the main suspect. The main suspect in an investigation with no crime. Before we unwind that, let's dispense with the tired claim that the Obama administration did not really spy on Trump and his campaign. Every one of the 4 FISA warrant applications, after describing Russia's cyber espionage attack on the 2016 election, makes the following assertion after 2 redacted lines. The FBI believes that the Russian government's attempts to influence the 2016 election were being coordinated with Page and perhaps other individuals associated with candidate number 1's campaign. Candidate number 1 is Trump. See, the upper hierarchies of the FBI and the Justice Department believed the Steele dossier, or at least they said they did. The operating assumption of the Obama administration in the months before the 2016 election was that Trump campaign was complicit in the Kremlin's hacking conspiracy. Otherwise, the FBI would not have made this representation to the FISA court 4 times, including twice after President Trump was already in office. Did they say this because they believed it was true? Because they wanted to believe it was true? Because they had misplaced confidence in Christopher Steele, the former British spy who shared their anti-Trump contempt? Probably a bit of all of those things. But the point is, you must always bear in mind that the incumbent leadership of the intelligence community had convinced itself that the Trump campaign was in cahoots with the Kremlin. Based on that belief, the FBI and Obama's DOJ took bold risks because they'd further convinced themselves that there was no risk at all. Everything was in the black box of classified intelligence, and besides, Hillary was a shoo-in to win. No one would ever be the wiser. Let's shift our attention to the redacted Carter Page FISA warrant applications. While we anticipate that the president is poised to force disclosure of currently blacked out information, not enough attention has been lavished on the applications in their present state. Figuring out what's been blacked out and, more significantly, grasping the ramifications of what has been disclosed. I have dealt with the redactions in a separate column. The vast majority of them, the bulk of the 412 largely duplicative pages of FISA warrant documents, are really not that hard to figure out. More importantly, most of the redactions have nothing to do with what really matters, the evidence on which the FBI relied to claim that there was probable cause that Carter Page was an agent of Russia. Here, let's stick with the essential point. The use of counterintelligence authorities to conduct a criminal investigation of Donald Trump in the absence of a predicate crime. We've had a lot to say about Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein's failure to comply with federal regulations that require showing a factual basis for a criminal investigation, i.e., reason to believe that a crime was committed, before appointing a special counsel, Robert Mueller. But Rosenstein was just riding the tide. The FISA warrants show that this practice of launching a criminal investigation in the absence of a crime long predicated Rosenstein and Mueller. It was the modus operandi of the Trump-Russia investigation from day one, when Obama's Justice Department and the FBI first targeted the Trump campaign. This raises a question that should gnaw at those of us, like moi, who have championed robust national security powers in an era dominated by international terrorism. Is this pretext use of FISA something that the Justice Department and FBI designed specifically for Trump-Russia investigation, or is it standard operating procedure in all counterintelligence cases? We can't answer that question at the moment. FISA warrant documents are highly classified, which is why it's been so hard to get even partial disclosure regarding the Trump-Russia investigation. We do not know if FISA warrants in other cases mirror the ones we've been permitted to see. Let's cut to the chase. Every one of the 4-page warrant applications makes the following assertion. The italics are mine. The purpose of the authorities requested. The FBI's foreign intelligence goals for this investigation are set forth in the certification of the executive branch official contained herein. However, the authorities requested in this application may produce information and material which might, when evaluated by prosecutive authorities, constitute evidence of a violation of United States law, and this investigation may result in an eventual criminal prosecution of the target. Nevertheless, as discussed in the certification, at least a significant purpose of this request for redacted is to collect foreign intelligence information as part of the FBI's investigation of this target. This is so matter-of-factly brazen, buried on page 41 of the 54-page application, that we can easily miss its significance. FISA authorities are not criminal law authorities. It is not just that FISA is not designed to ferret out evidence of crime, it is not permitted to be used for that purpose. FISA's objective is the collection of foreign intelligence, the gathering of information about the actions and intentions of foreign powers that may threaten American interests. The page warrant application implies that it is a standard part of the process that prosecutive authorities, i.e., prosecutors, criminal investigators, grand juries, peruse FISA evidence to determine whether crimes have been committed. Not true. Prosecutors normally have nothing to do with FISA. Counterintelligence is not prosecutive. It aims to gather information about other countries and their operatives, not make criminal cases. There is an exception. It is not unique to FISA. It is a common sense exception that applies across the board in federal law. If investigators are conducting a legitimate investigation and they unexpectedly stumble upon evidence of a crime, they are not required to ignore it even if it wasn't what they were looking for in the first place. Some examples. If a federal agency is soliciting contract bids and a bid comes in that is patently fraudulent, it can be referred to criminal investigators. If the FBI is doing a background check for a woman who has applied for a federal job and agents discovered she has committed bank fraud, the Bureau will refer that for prosecution. If an FBI agent is executing a search warrant permitting him to seize guns with obliterated serial numbers and he happens to find a bag of cocaine on the premises, he may seize the drugs and the culprit will be prosecuted on narcotics charges. And if, while conducting a lawful FISA surveillance, the FBI discovers that the suspected agents of a foreign power are plotting to blow up a building, that evidence may be handed over to criminal investigators for a terrorism prosecution. There is nothing remarkable about this exception. Everybody knows about it. It would never be spelled out in a normal search warrant. Prosecutors and agents do not write in their warrant applications, if the premises contain incriminating material other than that which the court has authorized seizure of, the FBI may seize those materials. If they wrote that, it would be suggestive of an unconstitutional general warrant. It would intimate that the government's real agenda was to find evidence beyond what they had probable cause to search for. Similarly, it is not necessary in a FISA warrant application to spell out the exception for good faith unintended discovery of criminal evidence. Doing so strongly suggests the FBI and DOJ realize that they are conducting a de facto criminal investigation. It suggests that they are pretextually using FISA because they either lack grounds to justify a criminal wiretap application, which requires probable cause of a crime, or desire to conceal their criminal probe under the cover of classified information. It suggests that the overarching objective is to make a criminal case, not to collect foreign intelligence. It is worth noting that we don't just find this wayward approach in the FISA applications. It sings aloud in the breathtaking testimony of the FBI's then director, James Comey, before the House Intelligence Committee on March 20th, 2017. My italics. I have been authorized by the Department of Justice to confirm the FBI, as part of our counterintelligence mission, is investigating the Russian government's efforts to interfere in the 2016 presidential election, and that includes investigating the nature of any links between individuals associated with the Trump campaign and the Russian government, and whether there was any coordination between the campaign and Russia's efforts. As with any counterintelligence investigation, this will also include an assessment of whether any crimes were committed. Put aside that it is against Justice Department and FBI protocols to confirm the existence of an investigation and to identify as subjects uncharged persons or entities, individuals associated with the Trump campaign. It is simply not the case that every counterintelligence investigation includes an assessment of whether any crimes were committed. Most counterintelligence investigations have no interest in crimes. Rather, in any random investigation, if evidence of a crime the investigators were not looking for happens to turn up, an assessment is then made of whether it should be referred for prosecution. The assessment is not supposed to be built into the process because it is extraordinary. The purpose of FISA is not supposed to be to build a criminal case. That's why very few criminal cases include FISA evidence. Director Comey's testimony echoes the assertion in the FISA warrants about the prosecutive authorities weigh-in, and Comey's testimony was expressly incorporated in Rosenstein's appointment of Mueller. The special counsel was given the counterintelligence investigation of Russia. The investigation itself was real, but its assignment to Mueller was camouflage because a counterintelligence investigation does not need a prosecutor. For Mueller, the Russia counterintelligence probe was cover to conduct a criminal investigation of Trump in the absence of grounds to believe a crime had occurred. Maybe this seems like a hyper-technical point. It is not. Certainly not if you lived through the 1990s. Back then, in the 8 years between the 1993 World Trade Center bombing and 9/11, Al-Qaeda repeatedly attacked the United States. The government struggled to decide whether international terrorism was strictly a criminal matter to be investigated with such techniques as criminal wiretaps, or a national security matter to be investigated under FISA and other intelligence gathering procedures. Obviously, it was both. But that caused the Clinton Justice Department sleepless nights over what seemed, to me, among other terrorism prosecutors and investigators, to be overwrought fears of hypothetical abuses remote from real-world experience. The then Deputy Attorney General and other Clinton DOJ officials were worried about FISA. What if you had a rogue agent who was predisposed to believe a suspect was guilty but couldn't prove it? The rogue agent did not have enough evidence to seek a regular wiretap or search warrant. Mightn't the rogue be tempted to use FISA? He'd just need to claim that there was some vague international security aspect to the case, to pretend that his investigation was connected to a broader counterintelligence investigation of a foreign power. The rogue agent could then seek a FISA warrant to surveil the subject. He would call it counterintelligence. But in reality, he'd be conducting a criminal investigation, eavesdropping, and searching suspects, even though he did not have probable cause to believe a crime had been committed. Based on this fear that FISA could be used pretextually to conduct criminal investigations, the Clinton Justice Department imposed the wall. To prevent investigators from exploiting FISA to steer criminal investigations, a barrier was imposed between the FBI's counterintelligence agencies on one side and criminal investigators and prosecutors on the other. It became practically impossible for the two sides to cooperate and share information. One result was the desired clamping down on potential FISA abuse, but the cure proved worse than the disease. With counterintelligence and criminal investigators unable to build a mosaic of intelligence, the left hand no longer knew what the right hand was doing. This enabled terrorists to escape detection. Inevitably, catastrophes would occur, such as 9/11. After 9/11, the wall came down. Its raising was endorsed by such experienced hands as your humble correspondent. We argued that it was ridiculous to believe the FBI would pretextually use FISA to conduct a criminal investigation. Many times I posited that, even if we assume a rogue agent, it would be far easier for the rogue to fabricate the evidence needed to get a criminal wiretap than to fabricate a national security angle so he could use FISA. I insisted that if the rogue tried to go the FISA route, he'd never get away with it. FISA requires too many levels of scrutiny in the upper ranks of the FBI and the Justice Department, responsible superiors who would stop the rogue in his tracks. I was wrong. What I didn't factor in was the possibility that, for political reasons, the upper ranks of the FBI and Justice Department would do an investigation by themselves. That should never happen. The bosses are supposed to be the cooler heads with detachment from on-the-ground investigation. They are there to enforce guidelines and prevent abuse, to police investigations, not conduct them. But in the Trump investigation, headquarters became the investigator. And just as the investigator is tempted to keep his supervisors in the dark when he is doing something he shouldn't do, the Obama Justice Department and FBI withheld information about the Trump investigation from Congress, even though the Gang of Eight was supposed to receive quarterly briefings on sensitive matters. They withheld essential information from the FISA court about the source of their information, the Clinton campaign, and about the apparent dishonesty and deep bias of their main witness, Christopher Steele, even as they presented unverified allegations to the FISA court, flouting FBI guidelines. Headquarters exists to prevent investigators who sometimes get too invested in their cases from cutting such corners. But here, headquarters was its own supervisor. Such arrangements tend not to end well. Now, I know this is a long article, but this is the best article I have ever read on FISA. It really, really is. Now, there's a lot left here, and I don't know if I should go ahead and read the rest or not. But hang on, where did I leave off here? Now, this is, I think I'm going to stop there because that's a lot of reading and it tends to wear people out. I just wanted to read this editor's note. This column has been corrected since it was first posted. A quotation from the FISA application has been corrected to reflect that a bracketed passage to influence the 2016 election was inserted by the author. The brackets were inadvertently omitted. The bracketed passage accurately summarizes a prior page. Okay, that doesn't really affect what we read. It's just that this journalist has integrity. Sorry, I had to take a drink there. Now, let me just read the last couple paragraphs because it'll probably sum it up. The Justice Department and the FBI know they are not permitted to use FISA as a pretext. If I were a member of Congress, I'd be asking them whether this promise of prosecutive review in the page warrant application was unique to the Trump investigation or is invoked whenever the FBI seeks a FISA warrant. Either way, it's a problem. Either way, it harms the country. If the public becomes convinced that national security powers such as those in FISA are being employed to monitor Americans when there is insufficient evidence to justify a criminal investigation, there will be demands to strip these powers. And those of us who have insisted through the years that, with responsible supervision by the top tiers of the Justice Department and the Bureau, the government can be trusted not to abuse these powers, will have nothing to say. Very, very, very good article, and it is on thenationalreview.com if you wish to look it up. And I would suggest, if you're really interested, that you do so because it is a fantastic article. And it must be because Q referred us to it. And then he said underneath, panic in DC, Q. Now, this, I'm going to show you the link, but I'm not going to read the entire link. I'm just going to point out what Q wants us to gain from this, and he has pulled it out, but I want to show you where I'm getting this from, or where Q is getting this from, rather. And it is Executive Order 13526, Executive Order 13526 of December 29, 2009, classified national security information. And let's see what Q is wanting to point out here. Executive Order 13526, Section 1.7, Classification, Prohibitions, and Limitations. A. In no case shall information be classified, continue to be maintained as classified, or fail to be declassified in order to 1. Conceal violations of law, inefficiency, or administration error. 2. Prevent embarrassment to a person, organization, or agency. 3. Restrain competition, or 4. Prevent or delay the release of information that does not require protection in the interest of the national security. Q. So what he's saying is, you can't just classify something in order to conceal a violation of law or the inefficiency of a person or an organization or an administrative error. You can't classify something just to prevent embarrassment to a person, organization, or agency, or classify something to restrain competition, and you can't classify something to prevent or delay the release of information that does not require protection in the interest of national security. It's information that's being classified, but it doesn't need to be classified because it does not, put national security at any risk. So that is interesting to know. So there's actually an executive order to that nature. And of course, we do know that there were things classified for these purposes. So, interesting. Now, the next is on to September 16th, so I'm going to break here. I'm going to come back later tonight, and I will bring you the post from today. But that is it for now. It is now 4:38, and I think I'm going to call it quits there for at least this video. Again, I will be back later, and I do have a whole bunch of Q-related news as well. So we'll see how my energy holds up, and I'll bring you at least one more video today, and possibly two. So I ask that you would enjoy your afternoon. Stay well and stay safe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much.